Good morning. Welcome to Thursday's edition of Morning Brew with Pastor Drew. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Drew McComb, the pastor of the Little Brown Church here in Nashua, Iowa, and also St. John's at Pleasant Hill, also in Nashua, Iowa. And we're so grateful you're here and listening to this broadcast. Please make sure you share it with your family and friends on Facebook and also those on YouTube who watch YouTube as well. All this week we've been looking at what Paul had to say in 1 Corinthians 13. About love. Now, 1 Corinthians 13 is probably the best known chapter in the entire Bible. A lot of people can quote it. It's regularly recited at weddings and at vow renewal ceremonies and so forth. And we know in basic part what Paul is saying, but I wonder how deeply we've studied that particular chapter and the verses at the front end, the first three verses, because Paul says some things about love and the power of love, and what happens when the power of love is missing that we really need to understand. He certainly is stressing that to God, the love that we show to Him, the love we show to brothers and sisters in Christ, and the love that we show to the lost is so important to Him that He makes some, through the Apostle Paul, some important statements about what happens when that love is not there. At the beginning of the chapter, he talks about when the power of love is not there, our words count for nothing. They just sound like a noisy gong or a harsh cymbal being hit by a drumstick. It's irritating and actually can be damaging if done too long. So what he's saying is words that are spoken out with the context of love can be harmful. And all of us, I would imagine, have experienced those kind of words over our life. Someone comes along and just maybe wants to get even with us or wants to get one up on us or whatever and just slams us, and you know there's no love in that voice, and it just is a total turn off or it does damage. And maybe we've done that to other people rather than pray and ask the Lord to help. If we're going to confront someone or correct them, help me to do it in the context of love rather than judgmentalism or condemnation. Then we talked about when the power of love is missing, our knowledge doesn't amount to anything. He says, even if I have the gift of prophecy, understand all mysteries and all knowledge, without love I'm nothing. And so Paul is saying, whether you have supernatural knowledge or natural knowledge, if it's not in the context of love, it doesn't amount to hill of beans. In Ephesians chapter 3, verse 19, Paul says, we need to know the love of Christ which surpasses knowledge. Love is more important than knowing. Let me ask you this. If you're down or depressed or you're sick or whatever and somebody comes to see you, what do you appreciate more? Someone giving you a long lecture on the theology of healing, or someone loving on you and praying for you and asking God to heal you? What would you prefer? Someone that comes just to let you know how much they know, or someone who comes along who lets you know how much they care? And that's kind of really more important. Love always surpasses knowledge. Love has converted more sinners than eloquence. Next thing I want to share with you is this. When the power of love is missing, our faith will accomplish nothing. Look at verse 2, second part. And though I have all faith so that I could remove mountains, but have not love, I am nothing. There's a lot of people out there who believe that if only they can develop an irresistible, unshakable faith in God, then their lives will be complete. Then we will have got what God says we can have and be what God says we can be. Actually, that's not what Paul is saying here. He is saying that even if I can make the impossible possible without love, I'm nothing. While faith might make all things possible, love makes all things acceptable. And so in Galatians chapter 5, verses 5 and 6, let me read these words from the Apostle Paul to us. He says, for we through the Spirit eagerly wait for the hope of righteousness by faith. For in Christ Jesus neither circumcision, that's the Jews, nor uncircumcision, that's the Gentiles, avails anything, but faith working through love. Another way of saying it is faith expressing itself through love. Faith alone is not what God is looking for in the believer. He's looking for faith that's wrapped in love, that's wrapped in the concept of love. In the context of the insight that we might have, knowledge and faith, Paul is saying that without love, that we're nothing. Our self-worth, our self-esteem, our identity is not found in how much insight we might have, how much knowledge we can assimilate, or even how much faith we can muster, but that we love and are loved by others, and more especially by God. I can't tell you how important it is, I believe, to God that we are people who express ourselves through the love that we have for God, and the love that we have for our brothers and sisters in Christ, and the love that we have for those who are yet to be part of God's kingdom. So, once again, I encourage you to study this chapter, take some notes, do some research, and more than that, ask God to give you a new dimension of love in your heart for Him, for your brothers and sisters in Christ, and for the lost. So God bless you, and we'll chat some more tomorrow to wrap it up on Friday.